Jamal Murray signs his extension, and you can already hear the folks chirping. Is it an overpay? Is he going to be worth the money? You hear it all as if people forgot about 2023 and even 2024 before the injury. Y'all, the Denver Nuggets had the best two-man game in basketball prior to Jamal getting the calf injury. We're going to talk about, is Jamal Murray going to be able to redeem himself, and is there a reckoning coming for the Denver Nuggets and the rest of the NBA? We're going to talk about all that and more here on Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Locked On Nuggets. This is your host, Swiper. This is your team every day. Shout out to everybody that's listening to here live. Shout out to everybody listening on the audio side, the YouTube side. Y'all know what time it is, man. Locked On Nuggets, the place to be. Y'all, this episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Y'all, Jamal Murray has signed his extension. Jamal Murray gets a bag, 4-year, $208 million. And one of the great things about the NBA is that every year you have a new opportunity to show your stuff. Every year you have a new opportunity to put on for the world. Every year you have a new opportunity to say that what happened last year, even if it was a great ending, I got a chance to start from day one. And we are about a month and a half away, if that, from starting off a new NBA season, and Jamal Murray gets an opportunity to redo everything that happened from May on. Jamal Murray had a horrible Olympics. Everybody knows that. 29% from the field, 14% from three. Jamal Murray wasn't good enough versus the Minnesota Timberwolves, 18.8 points per game, shot 30% from three. Now, Jamal Murray had a really good game 7, had 35 points in that game, had 15 points in the second half, but him, Joker, they just weren't able to get enough help down the stretch of that game, and there wasn't any defense being played, so therefore they lose in game 7 after having a 15-point lead. 15-point lead going into the third quarter. So the Denver Nuggets, they're in a very interesting position because just a year ago in June, the Denver Nuggets win their first NBA title. Just a year ago in June, Jamal Murray averages 21 points, 10 assists, and 7 rebounds in the NBA Finals. Just a year ago, Jamal Murray averaged 32 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists on 50, 40, 90. Just a year ago, Jamal Murray had the world in his hands. And had he got that 4-year, $208 million extension last year, just a year ago, the whole conversation and dialogue about Jamal Murray would be completely different. But that's the way the NBA works. We have very short timelines. We have very short timelines on how we approach the NBA and the sport. And Jamal Murray absolutely has things he needs to get better in. But the thing about Jamal that I think is important to realize is that when Jamal Murray has been healthy, he has been able to prove time and time again that he is one of the upper echelon guards in the league. He has been able to prove time and time again that when the lights are brightest, he's one of the best in the sport. So I think the thing is that people are most upset about is that the fact that Jamal Murray went down injured and he threw the heat pad on the court. He looked like he was just a little labored at different points over the course of the year. He missed 23 games last year, and everybody's like, oh, man. Jamal Murray, we need more. We need better. And I get it. That's a part of the NBA. When you're in a situation like this and you're a number 2 option, people want to see you perform at a high level. People want to see you execute when things are the brightest. And in game 2 of the second round, and in game 6 of the second round, when the Denver Nuggets have a chance to close out that series, he wasn't good enough. And he didn't show up. In game 1, I want to say he might have been 5 of 15, I believe, in game 2. In game 1, just wasn't able to get enough shots. Just couldn't get it done. He was missing too many shots, and there were just things that he was doing as a basketball player defensively, and on top of that, his decision-making, getting to the paint, challenging, it wasn't working. So when you have that kind of run next to a player like Nikola Jokic, and I think that's what a lot of people here realize. I think a lot of people nationally realize the reason why Jamal Murray gets as much love as he does is because of how he plays next to Jokic. But the reason he also gets a lot of blame and he gets excoriated like he does, it's because he plays next to Nikola Jokic. So you should be playing up to a certain level, and people are going to continue to give you praise for that. But on the other end of this, if you don't play up to expectation, you don't play up to the expectation of an MVP, a three-time MVP, a finals MVP, the best player in the world, if you don't match that standard in the best way you know how, then people are going to criticize, and honestly, rightly so. But I think this place that we're at with Jamal is in the middle of a prove-it season in a lot of ways. He's on the last year of his previous deal. He has a 4-year extension on the way, and everybody in the world is looking at him saying, you have the potential to be an all-star. You have the potential to be an all-NBA player. But what's the difference between you and Devin Booker and Ja Morant, Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Maxey this last regular season? What's the difference? A lot of this is just the fact that Jamal has had to deal with different nagging injuries, and whenever he seems to get rolling, they just kind of creep up on him, except for 2023 and really 2020. And so Jamal is going to have to make sure as he gets ready for this season, post-Olympics, that he gets his body right. He gets his body right. He's able to concentrate on the things that are going to help him develop as a basketball player. And I'm not going to lie, y'all. Like, if you look at Jamal Murray's overall raw numbers from last year, like, he actually had like a really good season relative to kind of his expectation. Again, Jamal Murray is never going to have, I think in part because of the system he plays in, he's not going to have a lot of gaudy stats where the numbers are just going to scream 28 points, 9 assists. He's not Trae Young. He's not Luka. He doesn't have the ball in his hands that much. But last year, Jamal Murray, 21.2 points per game and 6.5 assists, 4.1 rebounds. He shot 85% from the free throw line. He shot 42.5% from three on just 5.8 attempts a game. And then from two, he shot 51%. So, you know, we're just going to have to make sure that for Jamal, that he's able to take care of his body, that he's taking the training regimen seriously, that he's doing the things he needs to do. But at the end of the day, like Jamal Murray on efficiency, 51% from two, 42.5 from three, and then 85% from the free throw line. Like, that's great. Like, that's not good. That's great. Jamal Murray definitely needs to uptick his three-point volume because the Nuggets don't take a lot of threes. And that I absolutely believe that they need to take a lot of threes. And I would also say this, that because the Nuggets don't have a lot of three-pointers, he's going to have to change up his shot variety a little bit, meaning you're going to have to get into those DHOs, pull-up three-pointers. You're going to have to get into those off-ball movement, spot-up three-pointers and shoot as soon as you get it. You're going to have to be able to get out and transition, space the floor to the corner, to the wing. Now, he does a lot of that, but the volume has to get higher. Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr., y'all should be shooting around, honestly, 8.5 three-point attempts a game to 9. Now, people are going to say, well, how are you going to do that in a slow-paced offense? Well, that needs to be built into the offense. Jamal Murray should be told that he has to take that kind of shooting volume because the fact of the matter is he's the best shooter on the team this side of Michael Porter. And I think to be able to offset the fact that Christian Braun might not be a consistent floor spacer. Now, to be fair, if Christian Braun takes a leap, then we're going to be in a scenario now where he's going to be able to say, all right, we're floor spacing to Christian Braun. He's taking 4 threes a game, 5 threes a game. He's hitting 39 to 42% of them. Okay, we're cooking. But on the other end of this, if we're looking at Jamal, we just need to make sure that Jamal is a stabilizer for everyone now offensively in a different way because he's just going to be needed more in that direction. So I think Jamal can do it. I think Jamal has the capability to get up more threes, to rebound at a higher rate. I think Jamal Murray has the ability to make sure that when Jokic is off the court, that he's taking high-quality shots, even if that means moving off ball. And I think the benefit of having Russell Westbrook is Jamal Murray is going to be playing next to the best guard passer that he's ever played with. Now, Jameer Nelson back in the day was really good. I think that Bruce Brown was also really good. But ultimately, Russell Westbrook by far the best guard passer he's played with. So how does Michael Malone utilize that? Jamal Murray coming off those pin downs, off those down screens, give him some elevator action, run some rip screens for him. Just give him an opportunity to be able to get the ball in movement while Russ is creating gravity, either going towards the rim or you're working him with Michael Porter Jr. on the court. That way you're spreading out the court. But on the other side of this, we're going to talk about some of the storylines for the Denver Nuggets and kind of where they are right now and what are going to be the most important stories that we're talking about for this upcoming season. We're going to talk about all that and more here at Locked On Nuggets. Y'all, passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guarantee Fit. Only available to U.S. customers. We'll be right back for more here on Locked On Nuggets. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Locked On Nuggets. This is your host, Swiper. This is your team every day. If you're listening to the audio side on the Apple iTunes, make sure you give us a 5-star review. That way more and more people can get in contact with what we're doing here at Locked On Nuggets. And on the other end of this, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I want to see if we can get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of this next upcoming season here on this side. Y'all, we're back. The storylines for the Denver Nuggets. My number one storyline for this team is what are the young fellas gonna do? Julian Strawther, Peyton Watson, Christian Brown. Will they be able to take a sizable leap in their production? A sizable leap in their efficiency? Because all three of those players have not been as efficient as you would like them to be so far. Last year, Peyton Watson below 30% from three. Julian Strawther, 29% from three. Now, Christian Brown shot about 38% from three, but he was 8% from the mid-range area from 6 to 10. They're all going to have to increase in their efficiency, meaning that this summer, they are hopefully working extremely hard for getting jump shots up, spot up shots up, and then coming off of some of these actions, moving in transition. And on the other end of this, Peyton Watson, I think it's going to be really important for Peyton Watson that he develops that mid-range game, because Peyton has enough wiggle in his room and to be able to get to a spot on the court off of a pump fake or off of a pull-up opportunity. But he's going to have to be able to convert those looks because he can get to the rim at a fairly high level. I think his free throw rate is something that could continue to go up as his career progresses, because once he figures out, hey, I'm actually one of the most athletic players on the court, and because of that, I can almost at will get to my spot and create contact at the point of attack at the rim. He's going to be able to do that more and more. And a part of this is he's just going to need to make sure that he has a mid-range game to get to in case he does get walled off. And I think this is a part of being a versatile offensive player. You know, I had a conversation yesterday with someone arguing between Devin Booker and Ja Morant. And the reason why I think Devin Booker could have a better season this next year is because he just has a very versatile offensive package. He's a great pull-up shooter, great spot-up shooter as seen in the Olympics. And he can get to the rim enough. Like, he's not a get-to-the-rim player like Ja Morant is. Ja Morant is probably the best guard rim finisher in the league. Probably not even a conversation, honestly. But what Devin Booker does have is he has the ability to get to almost any shot he wants versus contested or open looks, and to be able to bank them at a very high clip relative to the shot profile. So I think a lot of this is just Peyton Watson continuing to develop different parts of its offensive game where he can maximize that. I think Christian Braun attacking closeouts is going to be huge for Christian. Being able to get to the rim and finish and then do so without drawing charges. Another really important thing for Christian. How can you use your mind and use your game and synergize your mind and game? That way, when you are on the court and you're finding opportunities to create advantages towards the rim, that you're doing so under control, that you're doing so within the flow of the offense. That's going to be the next step for him. Julian Strawther, he had some interesting games last year. He had that Hawks game where he had over 20 points, the Pelican game, he had over 20 points. But we're going to need more consistency out of him as a scorer because, again, with him being paired with Russell Westbrook, he's going to have a lot of unique opportunities, I think, as a floor spacer this next year. And I actually think Russell Westbrook, Julian Strawther, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, hey, look, that's kind of nice. Maybe they can put Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., Julian Strawther, Russell Westbrook, and whoever that third other option is going to be out there. Look, give Russ some floor spacing. Give him Aaron Gordon as a lob man, as a vertical player. That's all the stuff that I think is going to happen. And I think you're going to see young players oscillate as the year goes on. Like, they're going to have peaks, they're going to have valleys. But especially for Peyton and for Christian, as they're now going to be in their third year of the league, we just really got to make sure that they're ascending more than they are declining. And that when they are in these funks, that they're not lasting for weeks at a time. And I do think that's going to be the biggest storyline from you. Calvin Booth's entire gamble for this season is that young players, should they be in the right system and should they get playing time, that will be more than enough. And y'all, I haven't even named Jalen Pickett or Hunter Tyson. I don't think they're going to be all that viable this year. Now, I could be wrong. Now, if you told me to put my money on one of them, it would end up probably being Jalen Pickett. But I do think that they're also going to have some spot opportunities to show themselves. And I think that's, again, Calvin Booth. You have 5 rookie contracts that are coming off the bench, or one of them starting now in Christian Braun. So how do you make sure the players are getting playing time and they're earning that playing time? And they're also playing up to the standard of a team trying to win a second championship in 3 years. And that's where we are. So for me, the reason why this number one storyline is because they're gambling that the 29-year-old season of Nikola Jokic and 27-year-old season of Jamal and the 26-year-old season of Michael Porter and the 29-year-old season of Aaron Gordon, they're betting that those players are going to be good enough to get the job done should they get improved amount of playing time. So we'll see if they do. The next big storyline is Russell Westbrook, and especially Russell and Sarge, Russell and Jamal. Will they be able to find a way to cohabitate together offensively while they're both on the court? Will they be able to find enough synergy? That way, when they are on the court, the timing and stuff is down. The movement is down. Jamal Murray not just simply standing in the corner, but he's actually trying to go get the ball in an advantageous situation. I think that should be one of the goals for this team, because the better that Russell Westbrook is going to be for this team, the more they're going to be able to find ways to optimize that offense with Jamal on the court. And I think, especially given where the team is headed, we're going to need Jamal Murray to be able to do this at a high level. So Russell Westbrook figuring out how to make it work with Dario Saric, Russell Westbrook making it work with Jamal Murray, Julian Strawther, Peyton Watson. Those are going to be some of the key takeaways for me. And how do we continue to allow for this team to be built organically and everybody buying into their role as they're supposed to? Vlatko Čančar, his health, that's going to be another side of a storyline for the Denver Nuggets. Russell Westbrook, his health. Jamal Murray, his health. Vlatko Čančar. One of the reasons I believe they lost last year is because they didn't have a portable size 4 that's also a good floor space for Ashley. Excuse me. Vlatko can fit that role like Jeff Green did. Because remember, when Aaron Gordon was in the game, he had Jeff Green next to him. When Jokic was in the game, he would have Jeff Green next to him in the NBA Finals run. And I think that Vlatko Cancar has a similar kind of strength, verticality, and shooting to where he can be a very playable player as a backup four. So we're going to need to see health from him. We're going to need to see cohesion and chemistry from Russell Westbrook and Jamal Murray. We're going to need to see development from Peyton, from Julian, and from Christian. You're making sure everybody's moving in the same direction. Y'all, on the other side, we're going to talk about, are Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic still the best two-man game in basketball? There seems to be a little shift in public opinion because of how the playoffs went. But look, I'm not going to lie. For all the money in the world on the line, I probably would still take them. But we're going to talk about all that and more here at Locked On Nuggets. Y'all, I love going to concerts. I love going to events. I love seeing new stadiums. I love hearing the latest artists. I love going to the comedy events and theater and everything. I love it all. Now, the thing that's hard about it is finding the right price, finding the right seat, and making sure that when you get there, you got your money's worth. Now, the great thing about Gametime is Gametime allows for you to filter out fluff to show you incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Y'all, I'm telling y'all, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code Locked On NBA, LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Gametime. We'll be right back for more here on Locked On Nuggets. Welcome back to the final segment here at Locked On Nuggets. Haven't seen y'all in a while. So glad to be here with you today. And are Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic still the best two-man game in basketball? Now, statistically, last regular season, you look up the numbers, 58 games played together. Jokic and Murray were plus 15.3. A plus 15.3 net rating all of last season. So they were quite literally dominant when they played on the court together. Dominant when they played on the court together. So I think a lot of this is just going to come down to this. Will they be able to play enough minutes together? And will they be able to make sure that Jamal Murray is healthy, that he's moving well, and that he's able to continue to find ways to get better and better and better on a night in, night out basis, and he feels comfortable. Now, if you filter out for groups with a good bit of minutes played, so if you filter out for about 2,000 minutes played or so, they're one of the best in the world. I think that if you told me that Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic played 65 games this next year and they had a ending, let's say their final record is going to be something at like 65 games, 48-17, very believable. They were 44-15 last year. They were 44-15 this past year as a duo, which is incredible. So a lot of this is this. It's just going to come down to, is Jamal Murray is able to stay healthy and they're able to continue to find him time to rest where it's not hurt rest, but it's real rest. I mean, the world is theirs. Like Jamal Murray and Jokic played 1,418 minutes last year, and they were a plus 15.3. I mean, they're just in a situation, man, where I think that we're going to have to find out kind of what Jamal's made of a little bit, especially in these non-Jokic minutes. I definitely agree that those need to be better. But I just think that Jamal in this situation, man, like we're just going to find out if he's able to actually be a second option with the bench unit, because I do think Russell Westbrook's going to help with that. I do think Russ is going to be able to help with that. but it's just a matter of the consistency and the connectivity that they're going to be able to find together. But in terms of the two-man games in the NBA, y'all, I really, truly, at this point, you can say LeBron James and Anthony Davis, but they cannot beat Denver no matter what they try to do. Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, they lost to Denver. And then on the other end of this, if you look at the way that the Nuggets have been able to play versus all the other teams in the world, even Tatum and Brown, I think Tatum and Brown, I think, are going to go into the years like kind of the de facto best duo in the world. I think because of the fact that they played in the NBA Finals and they won together and all that. But, I mean, truthfully, they just don't have the same kind of two-man game impact. If you look at high-volume teams in terms of data and play together, time in and play together, the Nuggets, 1,418 minutes between Jamal Murray and Jokic, they have the number one net rating for any group that's played more than 1,400 minutes in the NBA. The number one net rating with 15.3. The next closest was 1,635 minutes played, is plus 12.6 with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, and that's done. And then the next non-Nuggets two-man game that ranks high is a plus 11.6 in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Chet Holmgren. And then you have Tatum and Derek White. So the Nuggets clearly have a formula. They clearly have an identity. But a lot of this is just going to come down to if Jamal Murray is able to stay healthy, man, then it's going to be business as usual. And they're going to win a lot of basketball games. Everybody right now is kind of saying, are they going to be a 4th or 5th seed this year? But if Jamal and Jokic are healthy, y'all, let's just do the math. If they're healthy and they had a 61 win pace last year, if they're healthy again this year, they're going to be at about a 60, 61, 62 win pace this year. So Jamal, it comes down to his availability. Because the two-man game data is going to be there. Because you're not going to find around the league a center who's a better playmaker, scorer, offensive rebounder than Nikola Jokic. And then you're also not going to find, next to a player like that, a guard that's an elite three-point shooter, an elite mid-range shooter, and good at getting to the rim, and also a good passer out of those spots. But that's Jamal, and that's Joker. And because they've been playing together since 2016, there's just a lot of synergy between them. That's a lot of battles they've gone through together, a lot of playoffs they've gone through together, NBA Finals games they've gone through together, preseason, regular season. So it's going to come down to how they're able to continue to allow for Jamal Murray to be healthy and to be able to integrate his skill set with this new starting lineup. Again, the starting lineup last year that included Christian Brown was good. They took care of business last year. Are they going to be able to carry over that momentum? Again, a lot of that's going to come down to Jamal Murray. A lot of it's going to come down to Jamal Murray and his willingness to be able to help the team be able to commit to this new roster and his ability to be able to help it elevate and rise in the non-Jokic minutes. I'm really excited for this season, y'all. I know that a lot of people are feeling up and down about it. I know a lot of people are disappointed with how the season ended. They're disappointed with the fact that Jamal didn't play well in the Olympics and didn't had a very rocky playoffs at best, even though he was okay, if not better, in the first one. But that second one, it wasn't good. 18.8 points a game. Everybody remembers that. Everybody remembers the fact that game 1 and game 2 wasn't good enough. But then from that point on, he was really good except for game 6. So there's legitimate criticism to be levied towards Jamal. But in order for them to continue to grow as a team and for the team to be able to be as dominant as it once was, and was including last year in the regular season, they're just going to have to make sure that they're mitigating those minutes, because I do believe they have the best two-man game in basketball, because you're not going to find a duo that has a better shooting, passing, driving, and rim finishing ability than all of those players put together. And I mean shooting from, dang near 30 feet and beyond. And then on top of that, Jokic in the NBA Finals, he was able to hit that pop-out three very consistently because the defense had so much gravity following Jamal Murray to the rim. And you saw that in the regular season as well. So they're going to have to make sure that they're upholding their end of the bargain as a duo and make sure that they're helping it to be as effective as possible. But on the other end, Michael Malone's going to have to make sure that we're getting the proper rotation, that when Jamal's not in the game with Joker, that there's a good amount of players around him like Russell Westbrook, Julian Strawther, Michael Porter Jr., Peyton Watson, Christian Brown, players that know what they're doing, know how to buy into a system. Y'all, that's going to do it here for Locked On Nuggets. What do you think in the comment section? What do you think about Jamal Murray's deal? What are the top storylines for the Denver Nuggets this year? And do the Denver Nuggets and Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, do they still have the best duo in the world? We're going to talk about that next time I see y'all. Look, I'll see y'all on the other side.